Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to SP Reviews, where today we get to review some more material from Atls Plaza N.D with the EP Manu. And if we switch over to here, we hang on a minute. Hang on. We have the the album art here. You can see this. This is awesome. That kind of traditional vaporwave-ish vibe to it. I dig it. I dig it. I have listened to music from him before. I'm keen to hear more. I have a little explanation for this here. Manu is many things, and it also means human in Sanskrit. The first track is 108, which is a holy number and represents Shiva, masculinity. The second track, part 49, represents Shakti, the divine feminine power. When you combine them, you get Shiva, Shakti. There are 54 letters in Sanskrit. Each letter has both a masculine and feminine energy. 52 times 4 times 2 is 108. Fantastic. I was provided with that just so that I understood the track better. Thank you very much to Atls for that. Let us have a listen through this EP from start to finish and hear what we think. And just before I do that, I'll just sort this out here. Let's go. Just thought I had an emergency then, but we're all good. Again, just that album art there. That EP art, sorry, there. I love this aesthetic. Like, genuinely I do. I enjoy it. It's so fascinating to me. I could talk for a long time about how Vaporwave is just so different to anything I've heard throughout my entire lifetime, but I'm meant to be reviewing this music. That's for another time. 108. Ah, excellent. I like the intricacy of those drums. And that sub bass is heavy as hell, dude. Ooh. Ooh, it's a bit ominous, isn't it? I don't know where we're going with this. I love it though. There's a lot of lovely coloration within this track already with those piano parts and those occasional pads. Oh, some looping? We got some looping, boys and girls. Nice portamento on that. Now, it is actually, let me tell you, that is not an easy thing to get right. The glitching, the loops and stuff like that, that manipulation of the sound files and waveforms is not an easy thing to do. Like for it to sound musical, if that makes sense. It's one of the things I really like about this genre of music when you do that kind of glitchiness. It's like, wow, you know, how do they know exactly when to do that? Because I think the thing we're going to talk about is that this is a 7-minute 51 song. Now, when you think of a lot of music nowadays, it's like 2 to 4 minutes, right? So what can you do to keep a track entertaining the whole entire time? I mean, in this instance, we're providing a main melodic theme through the piano, and we're adding different bits of sort of modulation and manipulation of the established rhythms and various instruments. And taking away elements occasionally. See? Could you have expected this? I couldn't have, but I vibe with that. I dig it. Oh man, it's so calming and soothing, dude. Now, what is that? My brain is like, is that a shamisen? That is a word I'm thinking of right now, but I don't know if it's a shamisen or not. It's funny how the word, like your brain comes up with words, and you're like, it's probably it, but I'm not entirely sure. I would like to learn more about different instruments from different... Now that was an interesting stereo panning there. Just having a little bit of that occasionally can spice things up in a really positive way. Yeah, it creates this faux tension there where you're like, it's not stressful or anything. You're just like, oh, is it gonna... Ah, it did resolve that time. Do you know what I mean? I adore that so much. Yeah, like, where are we going to now? I mean, we've got elements of, like, Tokyo, Japan, hip-hop, trap, electronica, electro, Shibuya downcore, trip-hop, Hinduism, 108. A wide variety of different influences there. And I can hear the majority of that in here. Ooh. That was tense as hell, dude. The reverb tails on that, man. See, there's a clear understanding of it that Atls Plaza N.D has of how to produce really interesting music. And again, I'm not trying to be nice for the sake of being nice. I just, like, I can appreciate, like, the clarity of the understanding, for instance, of, like, knowing how to do this, like, the stereo panning stuff. Like, these... It's like these little kind of, these fun decay and reverb tails on the stuff. It's like so smooth as well, and it's mesmerizing. Have we got a bit of a staggered attack on some of those? Have we got a swing groove? Da-dum. 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 No, we haven't. It's straight 4/4. Even with those... We usually at that needle scratch part is music like... Oh. We're back to this theme. We return. Oh, buddy. Smashed it. Genuinely, I'm really happy with this. I mean, like, coming into this, like, at the middle part, could you have imagined how we would end up at the back at the original piano theme? It's tricky. It requires... You can't... Especially because there's no vocals or anything like that. Oh, we're getting a little bit more intense and distorted and gritty and a bit overdrive in there. Get a bit wider in the stereo field. Would have been a very interesting like session just to check the amount of editing on some of these parts. And that was that. That was 108. It just came and went. And, you know, like, I'll admit, like, throughout my time teaching music, I don't always enjoy my time listening to tracks that are that long. Funnily enough, it's like, it's weird. Like, the longer a song is with vocals, it's almost like you limit yourself to the length of a song you can have because you have to stretch that story out over 7 minutes, if that makes sense. Whereas if you go for a full-bore instrumental, you just have the floor to do whatever the hell you want as long as it keeps people listening. But part 49. Again, very different to 108. A lot more energy happening in this intro to the drums. But there's a core melody there that we're paying attention to. Oh, some vocal chops? What else are we gonna have? I haven't really talked about the mixing too much, have I? Like, all the instruments and elements have come through really nice and clean in the mix, even when the volume is really being pushed in the master chain. When you get some really intense parts, like at the end of 108 there, where you had stuff being stretched out to the side and being pushed with the gain. There's a nice amount of dynamic range here, you know, and percussive bass, synth elements, pianos, organs, all that kind of stuff. Nice and clear, distinct within it. It's almost like Atls Plaza can just throw anything that they want at a song and make it work. And again, I sound like I'm being really generous with the praise here. I'm not trying to be. It's just so interesting. There's always something happening. But because there's always something happening, your expectations are set and they're maintained. And just, that's the only way you can kind of make this work, I think. Oh, coming back to that, some of the instruments we heard back in 108. That's a connection across this. Air horns? My man. Was not expecting air horns. All fell to work. Again, at the start of a new section, unexpected, but fun. You can see by that waveform that there's quite a lot going on there. I think that's in the low end. It's just this interesting combination of really sharp, kind of savage elements, like with that wee, that octave up synth that they had filtered there. But the gentleness of like the Rhodes organ, like how do you think to put those together? It's such a fun combination of elements. Riffing off of this bum 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 bum. I was having a moment then because I was like, wait, did I completely forget the melody? But it changes up between the two, the iteration. No, it doesn't. I'm just tripping, dude. Never mind me. And coming back to that trip-hop trap stuff. Dude, fantastic. Or a little bit of that manipulation there. And we just got the whooshy filter. Okay. We're feeling okay, boys and girls? What a journey this has been, dude. I've just been vibing along to this. I'm supposed to be talking about it. Dude. Oh, man. Music's fun nowadays. There's so much of it and so many different types. I'm glad we have the ability to make stuff like this. I'm glad that you don't have to go to a... You know, like back even like 20 years ago when the computers really sucked, you know, you'd have to go... You wouldn't... It was difficult to produce your own music, you know, like independently. And now people are able to do stuff like this. It's wild, man. I know like music production really started kicking up in the early 2010s, but still. It's so gentle. I just wanted to catch it before I went to the next track. Wow. It's eternally fascinating to me, this Vaporwave stuff. Vaporwave. From Atls Plaza N.D, Manu, it is a pleasure to review more material. Because I had listened to Me Not Me, which was great. And this is just another step in the right direction. I think, you know, I can hear the hip-hop and the trap and the electronica and the Vaporwave and the down-tempo. And the Japanese Tokyo aesthetic elements and the Shibuya and the Hinduism stuff. We talked about that stuff earlier in the introduction with the information. What do we want to say about it? How do I describe an album like this? I gotta turn my camera on. I think the most straightforward way to do this is to do my conclusion thing I do. You know, so I can sum up things into various sections. I've already spoken what the music is about with that information that we talked about earlier. You know, like to recap, talking about the meaning of it in Sanskrit, which is the Shiva being the first track and the Shakti being the second track, and combining them to be, you know, Shiva and Shakti. So you got the male and female. I think that it makes a lot of sense when you think about it. It's just being open-minded to interpretation of what you consider masculinity and femininity. And I enjoy the fact that we're trying to do that in an instrumental format. I love it. I want to say that you've got like such a delicate tone to part 49, but then there's also delicate, beautiful tonalities to 108 with the piano line. And you had some gritty stuff happening in 108, but you also had some gritty stuff happening in part 49. I think it goes to show that you don't just have a white, like one or the other thing. You've got the combination like of different attributes and elements to each of our, each of the masculine and feminine. And I don't want to go too far into it primarily because I'm incredibly ignorant about this stuff. But you gotta know your limitations. But I could hear it, I can understand it, I can relate it to the music, and I am thankful for the opportunity to have done that today. Genuinely, it was great. The structure of the song, oh, dude, it was obviously through composed. You had various parts which were discernible as having its own section and its own sound or musical theme, and there was variety between part 108 and 49. I think that made them unique in their own ways, but I liked how we looped back to the main themes or the main core motifs of them, and we kind of rounded each track out really nicely, and there was a clear destination and a clear understanding of how to navigate the different musical themes and elements and harmonies and rhythms and the little glitches and manipulations and filler bits and stuff like that. I've been struggling to articulate the amount of work that is required to be able to produce something like this. You can't just go to study at school music composition. You've also got to think about how to break music and how to destroy it and reformat it and augment it into what you want. You've got to really be able to understand music as a concept. And I know I'm not trying to say like, oh, look at me, I'm like a 300 IQ person. It's more like you've got to not only understand the core fundamentals of music and then the advanced parts, but then also be able to completely disassociate yourself from that and be free and use those things as tools rather than a format you need to stick to and adhere to. And I think that is where we will find growth in music in future. And if the future was made up of a lot more music like this stuff, then bring it on, dude. Bring it on. I adore this to pieces. My favorite genres are like electronic music and metal, and both of those genres, and not necessarily the vaporwave stuff, but like they have been saturated with so much of the same. And to hear something different is a gasp of fresh air. Don't get me wrong, I listen to musicians on a daily basis. They are doing different things and unique things because they are aware that they need to be able to have any semblance or any chance of having a career in music, or even just to be able to get somewhere in the industry. But Atls Plaza N.D is someone who I have a lot of respect for because they are definitively trying their own thing. They are clearly competent at it. And I mean, like, there were no vocals in this apart from the vocal chops. There were lead lines on the piano instruments, but that's part of the instrumentation. You had so many different instruments involved in this. I lose count, but they all worked incredibly well together. Lots of interesting textures intermingling into one big melting pot of just cool stuff. And then the recording, mixing, and mastering was sensational. I've got no complaints about it whatsoever. You've got to, again, with the production element of it, you've got to be able to produce something well and then break it and kind of work at it like that. And it's just next level stuff. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I'm not being disingenuous. It's really dope stuff, and I really hope more people get to listen to Atls Plaza N.D stuff in future. Great work. Well done. Now is effectively my review of Atls Plaza N.D's Manu, the latest EP. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show Atls Plaza N.D some love via their various social medias and their SoundCloud. Stay cool and stay safe, and please also remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. Catch you in the next review. Spider hands up.